Whoa, they changed the left side board. It's actually
E
wow. Okay, this is our
yeah.
first cast during the battle cast. Sorry, during the battle. What? I've just completely forgotten
Pass?
what the battle pass.
Pass?
This is the first casted game during the. You got it right. You heard what John said. The battle pass. So if there are some things changed up, I apologize if I sound a little surprised. John, I didn't actually put in the new map, so I didn't know whether people would kind of dislike the fact that there was the new map there. So I just didn't do it. Because I know some people can be a little bit
He
funny.
said the bounty they want.
There's a bounty on this Monkey King already.
Oh god. this is this is gonna be wacky, man. These new features. It's a bit of mind games as well, right? You put because in pubs, right, you put the bounty on right before you're gonna kill someone. I mean, this could be a nice use of mind games on top, so it makes it a little bit more exciting and spicy.
See how it all pans out, John. It's going to be a very, very interesting game. Of course, the first game of the CN group stages now. Uh, I do miss the voice lines. I don't particularly understand what the those ones say. In all honesty, John, but it's always fun to hear them regardless. I'm very happy. I haven't actually seen what the higher level ones sound like, to be honest. I'm sure it's mostly just old ones, and now there's another bounty set on the Rubik. Got to make those points,
Yeah.
John. You can't just, you got to use these things.
Yeah, you definitely do, and it's gonna be an interesting time up top. Of course, you've got the Monkey King up against the Tide. This is something the Monkey's not particularly happy about. Rubik plus Tide can really mitigate your damage if you're not careful.
Sure. But then again, it is a Monkey King after against the melee hero, right? Like, you should have no issues getting that Jingu Mastery proc. In fact, we're going to see it now. Like, there's no way he gets out of range here. And there you have it. And that's the one thing. You take the Monkey's damage away, but he gains even more back with Jingu anyway. So I don't really know if they're going to be able to shut him down that hard with this combination.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot more potent for the Monkey in the early stage, especially since you skip that Anchor Smash. I think once you have some points in the Smash, though, it gets a little bit hard to juggle around your Jingu. Like, you will only do damage during that Jingu Mastery.
And we'll see how Monet does with this. Of course, in the mid lane, we will see the DK up against the Ember. It should be a fairly even match in this mid lane. In fact, you could make the argument the DK could come out on top thanks to Dragon Breath. You can almost guarantee nobody's dying in this mid lane, as there is absolutely zero kill potential unless we are going to see some support rotations. Arguably with a DK in the lane, like you really don't see too many supports coming into this mid lane when you have a very kind of stable lane like this. Generally speaking, the supports will just leave them alone. Just let them trade farm.
Yeah, it's probably just gonna be that static lane, as you mentioned. I don't think you want to invest too many resources here. The side lanes are so much more important when you have a Slark against a Pango like that. Ooh.
They already found the Tide. Super the one to pick up the first kill. And first blood will go to the way of RNG. Yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about, John. Like, I don't think the Rubik Tide is a strong enough lane up against Bane Monkey. It's RNG going to abuse this quite a lot. You might see that Tide making a very early rotation to the jungle if this keeps up.
Yeah, it is costing them a bit. They have to be careful of the magic damage output of Super in particular is quite scary for something like the Tide. It does feel like the Gush level 1 did slow them down a bit. Like, the minus armor is great. You drag the Monkey down to 0 armor, and you can harass him well, but they weren't really harassing Monet. So the value of that level 1 skill choice is put up in the air.
Yeah. The thing is, though, do you bother going for Kraken Shell, right? Like, maybe the argument is yes. It's hard to know, because you need to secure those range creeps as well. And I think that's maybe why he also opted to go Gush. In fact, never mind, they'll just use the Rubik to do so. But yeah, like you said, like if you're not really harassing once that Gush comes out, it kind of becomes pointless. I mean, the slow is very nice as well, but yeah, we'll see what happens there. Bot lane Flyone does end up actually getting a kill onto the Slark now. So Soso does go down. Dodo was unable to do anything about that, unfortunately, and that's not great news, John. Dying to a Pango like that on a Slark is... I mean, it happens, but you've got this very momentum-driven hero in the Slark. He does need to have a good laning stage to really have some presence in this game.
Yeah, it's not been a great start for Soso. Even in terms of just last hits, it's not been too good. Mainly down to just how aggressive Flywind's been playing. Like, there might be some room now with Super away, but with the Treant away, sorry, but I don't think you can really do too much now. Like, you just focus on those last hits. Soso will have to play a bit more safe. Don't go for the aggressive movements with the Slark this time, mainly because the Treant can punish pretty hard if you overextend.
Super comes back up to the top lane, just harassing a little bit with those illusions. Mid lane, I look back to it, and Setsu is still having a great old time on that DK. He is closely followed by the Ember right now, so it's not all so bad for the side of the Radiant, but these DKs, like, they don't need farm to be effective, but when you give them farm and they can rush something like a quick blink, it can start to get very, very concerning. Especially if he does go for the standard, double braces. In fact, he already has those. So now going to the treads into the blink is going to be very hard to deal with. And top lane, they are going to have a fight over these 5-minute bounty runes as well. We will see a Jingu Mastery proc. Now the Rubik, however, taking the sleep, so they can't actually take him out. But a great boundless strike on 2, and they look to switch it around now onto the Ember, but he is way too healthy. Super was unable to help, so Longinus going to be able to find 2 kills for the price of 1. I guess on the brighter side, RNG did find Dodo down at the bot lane, so it does end up being a 2-for-2 trade in the end, but you do lose that Monkey King.
Yeah, it's it's an all-right trade for RNG. Longinus is most certainly still happy, especially since the Ember was around for those kills. So you are getting a bit of a bounce back on that Ember Spirit, who has fallen a bit behind. You still have issues with laning against Setsu though, like 6 is up, Dragon Form's available. You are just about to hit 6 on the Ember as well, but even then with that additional damage, you're not going anywhere. I know, Super.
Look at the damage he's taking right now. Like, they're just hitting away. He doesn't have remnants yet. He needs more creeps. They wanted to dive, but the lift from the Rubik will save him. There's a full level advantage almost on that DK, and well, with that Dragon Form, he's just going to slowly start pressuring that mid-tier 1 tower. Of course, he also has that 5-minute siege creep, and now we do have September coming in. In fact, Super, excuse me, on the Bane. September is there, though, and they are going to make a jump now onto the Ember. In fact, he jumps on the Bane, but he is low on HP. He has to be very careful. He will remnant away. Now the Rubik, however, in a bit of a peculiar spot, as the Dragon Tail will come out from Setsu, and that'll be another kill to go the way of RNG. And they could just go straight back to that tier 1 mid.
Yeah, it's really aggressive from RNG. You finally see that mid-rotation from the supports as well. So this does free up the side lanes for Longinus. It's not like they're finding the most from that, though. Like, you look at Soso, he has managed to catch up in terms of farm. 40-5 compared to our Pango's 33-4. So he has bounced back a bit with those supports gone, but it's really hurting that Ember. The item progression is going to be a bit slow. Saving up for the Urn first, and it's not too close. It's going to take a while for our Ember to hit that point where he can get his own rotations out.
Certainly. At least he is at that level 6 mark now, so he does have a bit more potential, but I mean, it's just, you can't stop the DK at this point. He's just going to be way too tanky, and you can't really leave the mid lane alone now, because you know every single time Dragon Form's off cooldown, he's just going to pop it and go for that tier 1 whenever nobody's there. And so now you're kind of stuck defending this mid lane, but that's going to open up the side lanes for the side of RNG. And in fact, they found the Rubik. He does get Primal Spring, though he does juke that out, and well, he might actually get away from this. As it was a very, very nice juke, and yeah, that'll be enough. He just walks out of there.
Yet, one of the rough things with RNG's draft, of course, once you expend that Nightmare in the laning phase, well, you'd be hard-pressed to really expend Boundless Strike for that one. And it does give a little bit more leeway to Longinus to run away. They can use that time. They have been using that time quite nicely for their Tide up top, so he's found some farm for himself, just about to hit that level 6 mark. So it is a lot harder to commit for the Tide. Longinus, I'd say once you hit 6, if you do go for the Ravage, you've got to make use of it really early on.
Do you think the Tide will go some kind of weird physical build here? Because he's going for the phase boots for now. I'm not sure whether he's going to do something like, you know, the mobility or utility build on that Tide Hunter. I don't know. Like, it's... What is the plan here with this Tide Hunter? In fact, you can hold that thought for a second, because that tier 1 mid tower is about to drop. Dodo's going to try and get a deny off, but no, he tries, but he gets nightmared up. And it's probably going to be a very, very easy kill. Once again for the side of RNG. That'll give him a 2k net worth lead, and well, while you're around, why not try to continue applying a bit of pressure in that dragon form, says Setsu, and nothing can really stop him, so that's exactly what he'll try and do.
Yeah, it's a really good start so far for RNG. We're not even at the 10-minute mark just yet, but they do find that tower. They've got 4 kills, more than Longinus. They've got a 2k gold advantage, and Longinus, they need to start fighting back a bit. They've got the 6 under Tide. They're going to go for it.
Well, they'll try, but the Wukong's
Ow.
command will come out. And that is going to be enough. No Ravage expended. Interesting to kind of hold on to that, perhaps just feeling like he may have had backup, but they're all down at bot lane going after So-So, and that Rolling Thunder going to disable him up long enough to allow September to walk away, and they do secure the kill on the Slark. So now you definitely would have hoped that you would have just committed that Ravage, and to make matters worse, they lose out on their outpost. They don't get the die outpost in time on the side of Longinus. So that XP at level 10, all gone.
Yeah, Longinus is just not finding what they want in this early game. Like, their lineup does kind of shoot online pretty quick. Maybe not as fast as RNG's, but certainly the level 6 mark on their Tide does mean that they have a lot more presence in fights. They just haven't been able to leverage it. Like, look at the bot lane. They're not going to be able to defend this in time anymore. It's just gone.
Well, there's a lot of indecisiveness. Like, now we see a TP coming in. It's going to be from that Tide and +1. In fact, the Ember's going to join in now. They can't fight this, though. Even with Ravage, there's just no way to actually get this kill, I don't think. Maybe they could find one if they're left alone, and I don't know if you really want to try on that DK right now. He's got 1.6k HP already. Maybe they do. Setsu is playing a little greedy in terms of positioning, but no, now he'll join his team. And in fact, mid lane is going to be where the jump is. They do go ahead and take down Dodo. Now the Slark will make a jump onto the Bane, so Super does end up dying. It's going to be a 1-for-1 on the support trades, but as of right now, the real problem is Longinus is just kind of following RNG across the map, rather than setting the pace themselves, and it's just problematic. You can't do that up against a draft like this on the side of RNG.
Nah. They're just kind of playing tag, as you mentioned, and this is hurting them. Like, the one thing they are getting is farming space for their Slark. So you are seeing a pretty decent build-up to the Diffusal. It's not too far behind. He just has to play really safe. Like, they have to use that passive properly.
Just look at bot lane, though. Kraken Shell will save the days. Boundless Strike won't really stun at all. Mid lane, they make a jump now onto that Pango. Fortune's End going to do nothing. He'll just roll away. Bottle an Invis Rune, and that'll be the end of that. Meanwhile, top lane, looks like there has been a jump with the Fiend's Grip on that Slark, and
oh man,
that's what I talked about, John. The Fiend's Grip, as soon as you get it, unless the Slark's a god and, you know, has the game sense to get out of there early, he's just going to die.
Yeah, it's, you can't afford to leave your Slark like that. At the same time as the Slark, you just can't be that far forward. The tier 1 is there. At this point, the supports can kill you by themselves. There are a lot of issues here for Longinus. They need to still play some farming game here. At least you have the Urn on your Ember. It's not going to do too much while you don't have charges, though. So you really need to have an aggression that pays off. It's just, you can't. Like, you look at the Tide. He's eating jungle space. That could go to the Slark instead. So instead, you're sacrificing your Slark in these much more dangerous spots. And that's... I get that everyone needs farm. It's just the prioritization feels
they might
a
find
bit
the monkey.
odd.
Nice jump away from Monet, and yeah, he'll be fine. That was a 3-man smoke from Longinus that doesn't pay off, and now Rolling Thunder going to be cancelled off, and there is going to be more rotations coming in from RNG. A great swashbuckle onto 2, and with that, Monet says, let's jump in, boys. Wukong's command's going to be there. Nice Ravage, though, grouping them all up as 3. It won't really be enough to kill anybody. In fact, the Rubik is the one who dies, and, well, False Promise will be committed just to ensure the Tide gets out of there safely. Now the Dragon Form's been popped. They are going to make the jump onto the Ember, who has Remnants available but doesn't have any out yet. He'll throw one out and get out of there. Now the Pango, Rolling Thunder going to be out, just trying to roll onto the Ember. A great overgrowth out from September. They even got the Oracle. That's going to be their 3rd kill. And RNG are playing no games today.
Oh no. They've been constant with the aggression. They've been constant and consistent with finding these objectives. They're going to find the Tide now.
He's still there?
Yeah.
No, they do fortify, so that tower is doing a lot of damage to the rest of RNG. He will survive, so it looks like he just stuck around understanding the glyph was there. It's not like you had a Ravage or anything, though. Like, had you been able to Ravage underneath that T1 with the glyph, you may have actually found 2 or 3 heroes. But he doesn't get so lucky, and that'll mean that RNG can just get back to stretching out this net worth lead, currently sitting at 6k.
Yeah, it's Longinus needs to kind of sit back, wait for their Slark to be ready. You are reaching that point, though. The Diffusal is just about to be out for Soso. And once that's up and running, the damage output can go up. We haven't seen the potency of their regen just yet, so, you know, False Promise and Slark with a Shadow Dance, you're never going to kill the guy. And, oh.
Bot lane, they lose their Rubik, and now Monet going to get Fortune's Ended, but he didn't really juke it. Doesn't really matter, though. He's still in the tree line just fine. Now with that Living Armor, they look to turn this one around. They don't have Wukong's command, and they don't have Overgrowth yet. Still a few seconds away. Looks like Monet has got that that shiny blue thing going on with his portrait at the moment.
Kill streaks.
Very, very
go.
nice.
You do have the Diffusal up on the Slark, so there's some damage coming out. It's just that I don't think you want your Slark that close to all these heroes. It's pretty scary.
They're going to try.
With how it is.
He's coming in. They're going to go for the fight. They have Ravage in 3 seconds. They're feeling confident. Maybe if you get the Bane first, this could be a decent team fighter. Soso does diffuse up that Bane. Super trying to run away, but now the Wukong's come out, and he is still alive. He does Brain Sap and walk away, but there's the Ravage. Still alive, however. They're trying to go after Monet. Oh. The Overgrowth is there with the Boundless Strike and Jingu Mastery. It's just so much damage from RNG, and everyone is still alive. 3 dead on the side of Longinus. The only one left is the Ember in that bot lane, but you look at Setsu still waiting. The great juke on the stun, but there's the Fiend's Grip. And there's just no way to survive. In fact, Dodo, he tried to come in and help out a little bit, but that's going to be a full team wipe. And RNG, John, their portraits are starting to really sparkle.
It certainly is. Oh man, Setsu was super close to dying. They couldn't even clean him up. The tower couldn't get the job done. Longinus, again, they expended their big ults to no avail. So this is just more downtime where RNG can fight. They know Ravage isn't up. They know the Slark's not, in fact. You still need some time to cook here on these heroes. I mean, the Ember Spirit's been sitting on an urn with 0 charges for however long he's had that item. He's never found a charge.
Well, it is very hard, though. Like, every team fight they go into, they're just not getting any kills. And as time goes on, it's only going to get worse. Like, you've got a 10k net worth lead. In fact, make it 11k now for RNG. They could just continue controlling this game very, very nicely. In fact, you might just wait for Monet to just pick up the full Desolator on the Monkey King, which will be coming out very, very soon. And then, more pushing to come for RNG. I don't know what you do here if you're the side of Longinus. Like, you've got a Blink queued up right now on that Tidehunter, so they're looking for that initiation. But bot lane, looks like they're going to lose their Rubik again. He'll go down in September. Like, I do question whether that Blink on the Tide is going to make any form of a difference, because it's not like RNG haven't been giving him good Ravages. He has been landing 3 4-man Ravages every time. It's just that they don't mean anything.
Yeah, they need to be able to isolate the backline, though. this should allow the Tide to at least reach into that back. Take out the Bane, take out the Treant before they can get their ults off, and you might have a control advantage here if you can get that done.
Oh, they're going to try into Setsu, but he's a hard target, and now Rolling Thunder just going to go through everybody. Are they going to go in? Dragon Tail going to be purged off. Here comes the Wukongs with the Overgrowth, but a great Ravage coming out just in time. Now, Monet could be in trouble, and he does go down. That'll be a huge kill on Soso. With that False Promise, he can just keep going. They're about to lose the Pango as well. Fly One does die. Now the Fiend's Grip is there, so Soso does actually go down through the False Promise. But you've still got Setsu to deal with, and Setsu will find a kill on the DK. It'll end up being a 2-for-2 trade and still a positive trade for the side of the Radiant, but you lost that 2-2 tower anyway.
Yeah, it's, you'll take what you can get if you're Longinus. I mean, at that point, the tower was kind of condemned to die anyway. So, finding the Monkey King still pretty darn big. That's a good bounce for Longinus. Not quite enough to turn the tides of the game. And losing your Slark kind of counteracts that, so... You do have to wait once more until the Ravage is going to be back up. But the build-up on the Slark is going slowly but surely. The BKB should be able to come out in this game. That could give them the control like for everything else beyond the Bane. So the only worry you'll have with the BKB up is going to be Super. And you're going to just have to find a way to take him out before you commit that BKB.
Oh, bottom lane Soso. He's going to try and farm, but currently his triangle is... It's full of dire heroes. So will show himself, and RNG, they don't have the Fiend's Grip, so I don't think they can really set up, but they do at least force out the Shadow Dance. So spotting the Invis Bane underneath that Sentry Ward, but he wasn't going to kill him anyway. So the Shadow Dance is just a little win for RNG.
Yeah, I don't blame him for being super cautious, though. Like, he has been caught out in that exact same lane before. It's better to err on the side of caution there. This does mean they're not going to be spotting that Roche. They do smoke up. Maybe they make the radar, but they're taking their time. And they get scanned out as well.
There's no Ravage either, John. It's going to be a hard team fight, but they feel like they need to do it. There's going to be a Nightmare straight off the bat on the Bane, but a great change to start off. Now the Rolling Thunder will be there, and it's just going to be on this Tidehunter. Just secure this kill with the Wukong's command now in a great position, so you can't even enter the team fight. But no, it's been cancelled immediately, but it doesn't really seem to matter, as now we have Monet jumping in, or rather Setsu on the Dragon Knight. They find two straight off the bat, and they look for more. They want the Rubik, and they will probably get it. The Primal Spring will follow up, and Monet does get the kill now on the Monkey. 3 kills plus a Roshan.
Yeah, that's really... It's a free trade for RNG. You know, it's not just even nice, it's all free. They weren't under too much of a threat. For Longinus in the next fight, they will have Ravage. So there's that to consider. The Ravage is going to be back up. You have Shadow Dance back up, but... you don't have False Promise, because that was expended early. So you'll have to watch out for how far you push your Slark, but you do have some options now for the high ground. I'd say don't even bother defending this tier 2. It's just way too tough into the Aegis.
They're going to smoke up. They seem to be aware that the Bane is there, and yeah, he was de-warding, so this should be an easy kill, but a nice glimmer.
Oh man, no.
They're still probably going to find this, so... Well, Setsu shows himself now. He gets diffused up, so they have to turn around here. Setsu may have overextended, but a lot of TPs are coming in, but a great Ravage connecting on every single person. But is it going to matter? Setsu is still alive, and now the Rolling Thunder going to roll through with the Overgrowth follow-up from September. They are just getting destroyed in this team fight, and the GG's been called. They are too far behind to come back into this game, and I cannot blame them for the GG call. You're better off just going into that game 2 and just starting fresh.
Oh yeah, it was complete domination from RNG.